Okay, so we're going to take a look at how to start the powder shaker for the very first time, or just generally in the morning when you're getting ready to start your day. Before turning anything on or anything else, you're going to need what I call a lead, and you can make this out of taking the first 7 feet off of a brand new roll, cut 7 feet off, tape it directly to this roll, roll it up, and then you're going to take the roll, or I use old printed material that we didn't end up needing. The side with the motor is always going to stay in one place. We're not going to move that. We're only going to move the side that does not have the motor. There's 2 nuts and bolts that hold it right here. So you're going to hold that in place. With this piece loose on the side, insert it into the side we don't move. Slide this over. We're going to give it a little bit of a push. Now it's critical that you do not cause this piece especially, but either piece, you do not want them to bend inward when you're blocking into the roll. You do not want them to try to run like this. They need to be straight because they're running on bearings that spin. And if you put them in where they're pigeon-toed or angled or something, they're going to bind up the bearings and it's not going to coil up properly. So once we've got the roll in here and we're all tightened up, open your lid. Pull through a good 4 or 5 feet, and we're going to push it through to the other side. So now it's falling into the powder. Close the lid. Grab the sheet in here, and now we're going to send it through so that it's roughly in line with the printer over here. Just let it drop. Once everything is all threaded through, we'll power up this, and we're going to wait until it's completely warmed up, and then we're going to send the print. If you've got your timing down pretty good, you could send the print ahead of time, but then you may end up with an issue where your printers run a large amount of material down and you're just getting warmed up, and now you're futzing with the printed material, which is going to still be wet and it's still going to be able to be scratched and ruined. So it's best to just heat this up first, then start printing. Once you have a small piece printed, and you've got your lead hanging out here, and you want to marry the two together, you're going to lift the lid. Depending on what printer you have, you're going to have the ability to pause the printing. On the 4800, you simply lift the lid so that you can pause the printing. Other printers may have another method. You're going to take the lead and a stapler. Take the sheet coming out of your printer and the lead, and I'm going to use 4 staples. Outside, move a little bit inward. Then we're going to go to the other side. Outside, move a little bit inward. And now we're ready to go. Close the lid to resume printing. Make sure there's enough powder. The powder goes in on top. So it's going to go down. And this is what's going to hold tension on the film roll. Throw that there. And we're ready to go. Once again, the film is going to go up through the oven, and then it goes down into here. And the way that the unit actually pulls tension on it, down there is an eye. And when the film gets low enough, it's going to pull it up. So I'm just going to manually drop it. Now the motor is moving. And it's going to pull it up, 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 until it goes up and now above the eye, and then it'll stop. As more material gets printed, comes down, that's how it's going to coil itself up. So you got to make sure also there's nothing obstructing the eye down there at the bottom. Just the 2 simple sheets stapled together. You can reuse the same lead for a long time, and if you ever get too many stapled holes in here, cut it, start stapling it over here. I do not marry the two while it's printing. I am going to lift this to stop it. It's unlikely you could get a print head crash, but you could potentially get a print head crash trying to marry the two together while printing. If you lift this up too high, you could hit the print head in there. We don't want that. And that's how we get our day started. On the software side, in CAD Link, every day for me starts roughly the same day. I have this file, which really just has big CMYK blocks on it. And I'm going to hit Devices, Manage Devices, 4800, click the black printer looking one. And I'm going to go ahead clean. And then this is the file that I want to print. And I would just usually print some small test file. This is basically going to show us what with the big CMYK blocks and the white underneath, this is kind of going to show us how our ink is printing. And roughly what you want to see is, little coverage on the black, relatively good coverage on the CMYK. We're going to come down here and we just want to see that our box is big, bright, and full. I don't run a nozzle check every day. I do run one of these. I will only run a nozzle check when I feel there's something actually wrong with it. But on the daily, we just run what I call a purge sheet, which is that, and we're off to the races.